pretty good though with the guy having one.
Heck yeah, we just set up tent. We got the cot that Flat Rock gave me, and Tristan's got the inside. We're right on the Ocoee River. The same site we did last year. So dope. And this waterway is known for the white water rafting. And the Olympics actually took place right here. One of my favorite Georgia serpent stories is Altamahaha, and the Ocoee is connected to the waters that they're known to be lurking in.
Also, me and Connor went down these rapids last year, you know, around the same time that last year.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
It pooled and threw us
yeah,
all over.
And then
the
we
river.
had to like use all our muscles just to get to that little side bank. It was like,
or else
like,
we would have got thrown all the way, take it down to the dam.
We're like, push it,
Hey, hey,
push it.
here's the big man in charge. Oh, and the true talent. It's nice to meet a movie star, a fellow actor. How are you?
The actress is here.
What's up, brother?
What's up, buddy?
How are you? Good to see you. You of course remember Tristan.
Hello. How's it going, man? Yeah, you good?
Oh, you got the Reese's. Yum.
Trick-or-treating.
Heck yeah. I have the amp right here too.
All right.
I was gonna bring it over to you.
Now, did you see the banner over there?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we got the group site set up right over there. You'll see a banner, Squatch Out banner.
Uh-huh.
And I got some canopy set up and put merch and stuff under it.
Heck
so
yeah.
we're gonna do the storytelling here in a little bit with your friend Neon. I haven't
Yeah,
seen her yet.
I haven't seen her yet, but she messaged me this morning, so.
Yeah, I talked to her yesterday. I emailed her and we touched base. So she's still, you know, everything's good.
So excited, man.
So that's gonna start about 8 o'clock.
All right, thanks again for hosting this.
Yeah, man.
Dinner soon too, so if you want to come by for a burger.
All right.
You know me, right, signing off everybody else's food, you know? Yeah.
We found this on our table when we got here. What is this?
Whoa.
I'm afraid to touch it.
Whoa.
I don't know what that is.
It's a weird structure.
Isn't it?
Some type of rock that has some kind of working. I don't know.
Somebody had to carve that, didn't
Yeah, it looks
I don't know
looks
what
like
that is.
it's like some kind of
This is some kind of demonic
totem
symbol.
Yeah, it might be like a
We were
totem.
saying this has got to be a totem of some. I said Connor will know what it is.
Yeah, that's really cool. We might
You can have it. We don't. We
awesome.
don't want it.
Thank you so
It's
much.
gonna draw it all towards our tent.
Yes.
We were hoping you'd tell us what it is and what it means.
Some type of totem. We'll have to do a deep dive.
Okay, good deal, man.
Oh man, thank you. Look at that, Tristan.
Well, that's definitely rock.
Yeah, he's sitting on the table, man.
That's eerie.
Honestly, it looks like some sort of, like maybe like a person, you know, like legs.
Yeah, it looks like even a
Head.
face. Yeah.
You know, and just from this direction, but
Dude,
I don't know.
we've been seeing fairy crosses and everything. And of course, we reppin'. That's crazy.
Yeah, we guess keep this around though.
Yeah, let's keep it with us for now.
Can we put it in my bag?
Yeah, or your pocket.
If I put it in my bag, it's gonna think I'm gunning for me. It's like, you're the one with the relic.
You've seen Jurassic Park 3, you know,
Yeah,
with the raptor eggs.
Could be where like the baby's toys they forgot.
Might as well introduce my neighbors too. We got Rick from Force of Monsters, freaking awesome, legendary wild man, mountain man, and another veteran, Whiskey with Cryptids. What's up, bro?
Been around a minute.
Hey, I'm a big fan of you. You're always diving in weird cliff sides and finding caves, and you guys found the footprint in the cave, right? Yeah, that was really cool. I would love to come to your neck of the woods one day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's so awesome, man.
Fun area.
Have you ever been camping in this area?
No, I've been hiking through here a little bit, but I've never been camping out here.
Very cool. It's called Cohutta Mountain, which that translates to Big Frog. So me, I'm a mud fossil guy. I think this used to be a huge frog back in the Titan days. So it's pretty wild.
Makes sense.
And then last year, some of the campers on that side, right along the cliffside, had twigs and pebbles being thrown. So that's where you're gonna be.
That's where I'm at, brother.
Yup. And then that trail back there, We had some pretty crazy activity. We felt like a really scary feeling, me and
Yeah,
Tristan,
it
the
was
last night, like we were being hunted down. And then a huge storm came, so I don't know if we were just
turned around like just in
feeling
time.
that
You were
or
here last night?
no, last year.
Last year.
Last year. And then I know there's been hair found on this mountain before. And then when we hiked up at night, I don't think we got any weird like strange feelings, but you can tell something's out there, you know.
Yeah.
Super excited. Well, we're about to have some dinner. I don't know what your guys' food situation is. You're surviving, I see it. But if you want to come over in a bit, definitely feel free.
Like all three of them there?
Yeah, and I can come back after dinner and flag you down, or if you want to eat, you know,
I'll probably go up to my tent for a little bit, but I'll be back down here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see it. Here we are, Roosevelt versus Bigfoot. Had to come for the hospitality over here at the hot corner, you know. How are you doing today?
Good.
Have you ever done any camping outside of this area?
I've been knowing Wayne and Walls since 21.
Nice.
And went on a couple of, outings and everything like this. And I don't know if you ever seen the time that he went and did like this up in the Cherokee over here.
I've seen most of his videos.
And he had a mom and a baby up on the tree. And then they had another Sasquatch looking right at us. But that was closest.
Hey, that's close enough.
Yeah.
Love it.
But I'm originally from Baton Rouge.
I love it. I'm not from Louisiana, but I love the Honey Island Swamp. I've been to Shreveport. You know,
Slidell?
Big New Orleans. Yeah, I've been through Slidell.
No, that's where Honey
Island Swamp. Yeah.
Swamp is.
And it's the Pearl River, and yeah, I guess Slidell is the whole city.
Right there.
They filmed some Midnight Club or Midnight, one of the Midnight movies, Midnight Express, I think, there just recently. Pretty cool.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too, brother.
Boo. You don't like.
And with the other dog when he got killed.
Man, don't take a dog up to Cleveland called Boo.
Yeah.
Man.
One of that.
Kenny, Bud, Angie,
Oh, you're recording?
Tristan,
Oh, yeah.
and Jody.
You don't have to edit that.
Wait,
It is.
where is Elkins Creek?
Racist and whatever.
And we're
Oh, they don't
eating
like
his
Boo
jerky.
and Bubba.
Some of the best jerky I've ever had.
Well, if you're
Some
from
burgers.
up north, though, if you're from up north, we have a thing.
They hate Boo and Bubba, huh?
Yeah.
I call everybody Boo. I don't care.
I know.
Yeah.
I do too. My brother's name.
And the respect that she deserves, and have a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Neoma Finn, and I'm sure that a lot of you don't know who I am. I do have a YouTube channel. It's Neoma Finn, Open to Doubt, because all of the stories I tell on my channel are open to doubt. You can doubt them if you want, and if you want to believe them, you can believe them. I spend a lot of time researching what I tell you to try to get as many of the facts or the story points as I can before I tell them. But there are a lot of stories I tell on there that sound a little bit crazy. I'm also a writer. I just recently published my first book, and I did it self-publishing, and that is a crazy, crazy thing to do. But it was fun and exciting, and I'm getting ready to help my husband publish his second book. This is my husband, Brad. We live in Tennessee now, but we're both originally from Illinois. And so a little bit later, when I tell you my story, it will actually be there in Illinois where it happened. But I'm fairly new to the Bigfoot community in that I've never been vocal about my interest or why I'm interested. Until about 2 years ago, I was listening to my favorite YouTube channel, which is Dixie Cryptid, which I'm sure many of you have heard of. And Cameron Buckner mentioned that he was interested in publishing his Steve Lilly stories. And I think at that time you'd only written one. And I sent him an email and said, I can help you do that. I know how to publish. And one thing led to another, and he asked me if I'd be interested in editing his stories for him so he could get them out faster. And so that's how I got into it. After a while, he said, you know, Neoma, I like your voice. You should be doing this yourself. I thought, no, but he talked me into it, and here I sit. So I wanted to share with you some of my favorite stories from my channel tonight. Now, if you do listen to my channel, you may have heard these stories, so I'll try to beef them up and make them a little more interesting. But I don't know if any of you know where Montgomery Bell State Park is.
I live 2 miles from it.
You'll know this story then. Montgomery Bell is a very beautiful, well-groomed park. It's not like a nature thing really at all. It's more like it's just a very well-groomed park. They have a golf course. They have 3 lakes. Is it 3 lakes? They have 3,
yes,
right?
3 lakes. I just left there yesterday, as a matter of fact.
So, and there's a swimming beach there. They have the clubhouse. It's beautiful. But at the southern end of that lake, they have a legend, and they call it Werewolf Springs. The actual name of the spring is called Hall Spring, and that's named after the family that had the farm there before it became a park. But most people know it as Werewolf Spring. Back in the 1860s, there was a farmer who was headed from west to east back to his farm, and he was passing by that area. And he was riding in his wagon with his servant, and he began to hear something that he couldn't quite identify. He felt like someone was following him. He didn't quite know what it was, but he could certainly hear the footsteps. He'd speed the wagon up a little bit, and they'd speed up with him. He'd slow the wagon down, and they'd slow down. But he couldn't ever see anything. Then he heard a blood-curdling howl. He's starting to get really panicked, and he thought, oh my God, what is this thing that's following us? And he couldn't identify it, he couldn't find it, and he couldn't get away from it. Panic started to build, and they started to go faster, and the faster they went, the faster this thing went with them, and it paced them, and paced them, and paced them, and they could not get away from it. Finally, all reason abandoned him. He jumped from the wagon this way, and the servant jumped from the wagon that way, and they both ran in different directions. And he hid in the underbrush, and he listened, while whatever was following them tracked down his servant, caught him, and ripped him to pieces. He could do nothing. He could do absolutely nothing to stop this. He could hear his servant screaming, no, no, let me go! But it wouldn't stop. It tore this poor man to pieces slowly, and he could hear the flesh tearing. He could hear the bones breaking as it gnawed on him. And he couldn't do anything. And he laid there praying that when his time came, when this thing hunted him down, it would be fast. It would be faster than when his servant died. And he laid there so quietly, thinking at any moment this thing would come. But the sun rose, and it never came for him. He got up and he went to the nearest town, and he told them what happened. And these people got together a posse, and they sent all of these men out there looking for this, whatever this was. There was a rumor that there'd been a circus train that had gone off the tracks, and that maybe this was an escaped animal from that train, but there's no proof of that. I could never find anything other than a newspaper article that talked about the rumor. I could never find the actual event. But these men, they got a goat, and they went to a clearing right by the spring, and they sat up and they hid in the brush around us, and I'm hoping in a semicircle, because they all had guns, and we know what happens when people shoot at each other in a circle. But they tied this goat out, and they hid in the brush, and they waited. And it was a beautiful, beautiful clear night. The sky was full of stars, the moon was big and bright, and they could see very clearly this goat in the clearing, and they watched, and they waited, and they waited, and they waited. Finally, one of the men heard something moving in the brush, and they all closed in on the goat, and they're watching the goat. And about that time, a cloud passed over the moon, and everything went dark, and they heard the goat bleat, and they could hear something clawing at the goat, and the goat was crying, and they couldn't see anything because it was dark. And then when the moon cleared, there was something very big, something huge standing there with this goat in its hand, and it was chewing on this goat. And all of the men pulled their guns and they began to fire, and every one of them emptied their rifles into this thing. And a cloud passed over the moon again. And when the cloud was gone, so was the being, so was the goat, and so was one of the men. They never found him. It wasn't long after that the family that lived by there sent their little girl out around dusk to get a bucket of water so they could do the dishes for the evening. And when she didn't come back, they went looking for her, and all they found was the bucket by the spring. The little girl was never found again. Well, now you would think that, you know, this would make national news, but it never really did. It did eventually reach the ears of a big game hunter. And the big game hunter decided that if anybody could catch this thing, if anybody could identify this thing, he could. Because first of all, he had hunted everywhere. He had hunted from lions in Africa to grizzly bears in Alaska. He knew the whole world and he could kill anything. So he shows up there at the spring. There's a cabin close by. He gets the cabin. It's got a perfect view of the clearing. And during the day, in the morning, he went out and he tracked and tracked and tracked. And in the late afternoon, he tracked and tracked and tracked. And in between, he would sleep so that he could sit up all night and watch out the window at this clearing. And he never found anything but a set of very peculiar tracks. But he still waited. He still watched. For 6 nights, he sat watching and waiting and hoping he would see something. And on the 6th night, he was rewarded. Something incredibly large, something very hairy, and something walking on 2 legs came into that clearing. The man was so shocked he didn't even know what to think because he'd never seen anything like this before. And with his 1800s mentality, he pulled up his gun and fired at it. Of course, all this did was make it angry. It came at the cabin and he fired again, and it came at the cabin and he fired again, and it came at the cabin and he fired again, and it still kept coming. Pretty soon it's pounding on the door, and the door splinters and it flies open, and the man manages at the very last second to get all the way up into the rafters. And he's up in the rafters, and this thing is down below him, and it's jumping and it's reaching and it's growling and screaming at him. And he's looking down at it, and he's just barely out of reach, within inches. In fact, a couple of times as it reached up and it scratched at him, it actually hit his skin. And he thought, I don't know what to do. So he reached and he takes his rifle and he fires down. Nothing. The bullet didn't even penetrate. He fires again. Nothing. He fires again. Nothing. He's down to his last 2 bullets. And he's thinking, one's for it and one's for me. I've only got 1 bullet left to put in this thing, because if it doesn't work, I'm not going to let it tear me apart. And he sat up there in the rafters, and the thing paced around underneath him for hours and hours, and it would try to get to him, and it couldn't get to him. And just as he had decided to put that last bullet in the rifle and use it on himself, the sun came up, and it went away. It left. It was like it didn't want to be out in the daylight. Well, the hunter packed up his stuff, and he got out of there so fast that it'd make your head spin. He was done with that. And he had to spend the rest of his life realizing there was one animal he could not kill. He didn't know what it was, but he knew it walked on 2 legs. He knew it was about 6 or 7 feet tall, maybe even 8 feet. And he knew that it was impervious to bullets. Over time, these legends have been told again and again and again. And a lot of people say that whatever was out there is gone. But there are still a lot of people who are, when they're walking the trails on the southern part of that park, will hear a strange howl they don't know. Or they'll feel like they're being paced through the woods by something they can't see. So whatever it is, I think it's still there. There's that one.
You never know. You get older, you start thinking about stuff.
Were growling sounds or howling sounds?
It was more screaming.
More scream?
But you know,
unnerving or?
I heard it one time when I was a kid. It unnerved me a little bit, but I've never heard it again.
Did you think you were hearing the screamer when you heard the screaming, or are
It
you
was
close
a scream
to
that went through you versus hearing it. You know, I mean, you felt it all the way through. I guess I was probably 16. It scared me to death.
Wow.
I mean, I run in the house and dismissed it as a bobcat, and that was that. I mean, my dad, mom, they don't think like that. But Dad has cows, and there's always a few missing every year.
Yeah.
And it's strange. You know, I saw a big rock in the field this week, as a matter of fact, but you know, I don't know how it got there. I've been bush hogging that my whole life. I ain't never seen that rock that looked like a basketball, but there it was. So I don't know. I ain't never seen anything.
Yeah.
Just that one time I heard it. That's the only thing, and I can't. I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Now, do you live? I know where White Bluff is, and I know where Montgomery Bell is. Which do you live closer to? I know that.
So
White Bluff
Mom and
is
Dad
like
have
right
a
on-
Burns address and a White Bluff phone number.
Okay.
They're right there. If you go out of the south side of Montgomery Bell State Park and go across the road, they're about a mile and a half that way.
Okay. Nice.
And they're right there.
Yeah. But there's another legend in Robertson County that interests me a lot more because it's very close to my house. And that is the critter of Carr Creek. Now this critter, nobody's ever actually gotten a good view of except one man, well, a couple of people. But most people never get a good view of it. They hear it and they know that it's been around. They've seen its footprints. But I personally think that the critter of Carr Creek is a dogman. I'll tell you that before I ever start. Nobody's ever labeled it anything, but I'll tell you the story. Quite a few years ago, probably around the 1950s, there was a farmer. He was a cattle farmer. It was about this time of year. He was out wandering in the pasture, looking at the cattle, and basically just kind of gauging the grazing land, whether thinking about whether or not he had enough hay put away, and what cattle he had to move from what pasture to what pasture. And he had his dog with him, and he happened to notice that his dog was acting a little bit weird. And this was the bravest dog he'd ever had. He couldn't imagine what had this dog so spooked, but it kept looking over at the tree line, and he was probably about 50 yards or so from the trees. And he kept looking and trying to figure out what the heck that dog was looking at, but he could not for the life of him figure out what that dog was so spooked about. And pretty soon the dog starts kind of putting its head down and whimpering. And this is just not behavior for this dog. He's never seen it act this way. And all of a sudden, there was about 5 or 6 cows over there, or steer actually, over there, and they bolted and they started kicking, and they all ran for the gate clear over at the other opposite end of the pasture. And he thought, what on earth has made these cattle act this way? And no sooner did that happen than a rabbit ran past him so close he could have reached out and grabbed it. Now you guys know a rabbit doesn't generally run to a human. It usually runs away from us. And he couldn't understand. And then the dog put its head down and it growled. And it put its tail between its legs and it turned and ran to the gate. That was when he knew there was something that didn't make sense, and he looked straight ahead of him and he saw it. He realized immediately why he couldn't see it before, because this thing was brown, but it had darker brown stripes on it that made it look like shadows in the underbrush, and it was really well camouflaged. But he could tell that this thing had a hump, and it was big. It was bigger than anything he'd ever seen in the area that could even come close to that description. In fact, the more he stared at it, the more he thought, that's a hyena. That's just a really big hyena. But what in the world would a hyena be doing in Tennessee? And it started moving towards it. Well, at this point, the farmer panicked and he takes off running back to the gate where the cattle have gone or where the dog has gone. And he's running and he's thinking to himself, is it following me? I don't know. And he looked back. And it was coming out of the woods, but it wasn't really chasing him, but it was definitely following him. And from that point forward, panic just erased everything. And the next thing he knew, he was standing on his porch. And he's looking around himself and he's thinking, did I jump the fence? Did I stop and open the gate? I couldn't have. I'd had to move all the animals away. How did I get here? What happened? And he was so afraid that it blocked his mind from being able to think about it or even remember what he had done. But all he knew is now he was on his front porch. He was looking across the road at the pasture, and he felt safe. That pasture led to a copse of trees, and on the other side of that trees was Carr Creek. Well, this farmer, he wasn't about to tell anybody what he'd seen. He didn't want anybody to think he was crazy. He didn't want to admit that he was afraid of something. He didn't want anybody ever to know about this, so he never said anything for a good, probably a dozen years. Then in 1966, a farmer not too far down the road from him had his own incident. This guy was a hog farmer, and he was out trying to figure out why in the world these hogs would not eat grain he put out for them. They all seemed so nervous, and it was dark, and he was a little concerned that he'd brought them in. He had one of those, it was more just like a pavilion. It was open-sided pavilion, and they were all under there, but they would not eat, and he couldn't figure it out. I mean, you know, it's one thing to scare a dog into running away, but who ever heard of scaring a hog out of eating? That's what they do best. And he thought, well, what's going on here? And then he heard something over in the brush, not too far away from the edge of the barn, and he thought, well, maybe there's something out there that's got him startled. Well, in Tennessee, there aren't a whole lot of things that could have got him too startled, but so he wasn't too worried about that. And they were fairly well protected in this area. And so he's looking at the grain, and he's kind of watching the hogs, and they're acting nervous, and they're grunting and squealing like hogs will do. And he heard a howl, and it just was piercing. And all of a sudden, he realized he was just a little bit closer to that brush than he wanted to be, to that tree line. And he started thinking, I need to get to the house. Now, he didn't have a weapon with him, so he picked up his grain scoop, his big shovel, and he thought, this is all I got. And he heads off to the house. He ran from there. He had a big light in the middle of the barnyard that sat over his fuel tank. He ran to that, and he stopped and he looked around, and he could see the side porch of the house, and he thought he could see the light shining through the kitchen door, and that's where he needed to go, and that's all that mattered to him. He needed to get to the house. But he happened to look over this way towards the kitchen coop, and he saw something in the shadows. He didn't see it clear enough to tell what it was, but it was big, and this thing wasn't on 4 legs. It was up walking on 2 legs. He just bolted and ran. He got to the house, he's out of breath, and his wife looks at him and says, what in the world is wrong with you? And he says, I gotta call the cops. He picks up the phone, he calls the police. Of course, back then they didn't have 911, so he calls the operator. Operator, give me the police, the police, Robertson County Police Department. And they get on the phone with him, and he says, there's something out in my barnyard. It's got my hogs scared. It's big, it's scary. I don't know what it is. You get someone out here, and you do it right now. And he was so frightened, he almost hung up the phone before he got to tell him who he was or where they should come. But he got it out. Of course, the police, they thought this man's lost his mind. But they sent a deputy out, and they looked around. In fact, the next day, they even sent out a couple more to look around. They never found anything but some really big paw prints with very long claws. So, of course, now this man, he'd have told the police, and the police weren't going to let him live it down, so they told quite a few people, and the story started going around that there was something in Carr Creek. Something that lived along Carr Creek that was coming up, and more stories started coming out. There was a man who happened to be out, he wanted to hunt this farmer's land, and he's out walking it, and he saw something on the side of the creek that he wasn't close enough to identify, But he was close enough to think that if he got any closer, he might be that thing's meal, so he left. There was a woman who happened to be out in the backyard hanging her laundry out, and she saw something jump the pond out of in the pasture next to the house. This thing didn't jump a fence, and it didn't jump a little circle pond like you might think. This was a pretty good sized pond, and this thing jumped it. She said she didn't know what it was. She said it kind of looked like a mix between a bobcat and a coyote, but it was very, very big. And she said it cleared it. It jumped from one side to the other, and it didn't even get a toe wet. A little bit after that, around the 4th of July, there was a couple that was out picnicking. They decided to get away from the crowd. They were, young lovers and all that sweet stuff. And they happened to be out in the crowd, and they were out in the woods, and they were having a nice picnic. And the man said to the woman, "Oh, honey, let's go for a nice walk." And so they started going for a walk, and they're walking through the woods, and they couldn't help but notice that they could hear something that sounded like it was following them. They weren't quite sure what it was, but it was definitely following them. So they kind of steered over this way, and it steered over this way with them. And then it steered over this way, and it followed them. And they started getting a little bit nervous, but after a few minutes, it finally kind of stopped. And they thought, well, who knows? It could have been just an oversized raccoon, curious. Until they got back to their little picnic spot. And the whole place was torn up. And the tablecloth that they had laid out was covered in great big paw prints with really long claws. Whatever it was had gotten into their picnic basket and eaten all of the leftover meat and all of the leftover food, and it had just completely destroyed their whole camping area. Now, the stories went on and on through 1966. In fact, there was even a couple of kids up in Bowling Green, which is about 50 miles north of there, who had run back to their dad while they were playing at the park there. What's the park? Beach Bend? Is that it? In Bowling Green.
I believe so.
There's a park there. I think it's Beach Bend Park. And they had said, we saw a hyena. We chased this hyena. We tried to catch it. And the dad's like, not in North America, you didn't. They don't live here. And they said, well, that's what it looked like, Dad. That's what it had to be. Well, the police came out and they searched the area just in case, somebody had an animal that they shouldn't illegally have. And they never found it. But again, they found the paw prints 50 miles north of Carr Creek. But they were still the great big paw prints, the really long claw marks. I want you to think about this. What do you think would have happened if those two little boys had caught up with what they were tracking? The thing about Carr Creek is every 2 years or so, it usually seems to be an even year, every 2 or 4 years, somebody else reports something that they heard or they saw, or an unusual cattle, number of cattle that have disappeared. And I also want you to think about this. If you head northeast or northwest of Robertson County, Carr Creek ends just south of Springfield. You end up in the land between the lakes. Now, anybody that knows anything about Bigfoot and dogman know that on the southern half of the land between the lakes, that's where you see all the Bigfoot sightings, and all the dogmen are to the north. I will tell you this, though. I was there right about this time last year, my husband and I. We were driving to another group meeting like this, and I happened to glance up. We were going down towards the lake that's on the west side. Is that Barkley? Or is that Kentucky Lake? Anyway, and the hill was sloping up this way, and I looked out the window, and I saw something that to this day, I cannot tell you what I saw. I don't know. I wish I could tell you I saw a Bigfoot, or I saw a dogman, or I saw a mangy coyote, or I saw an oversized bobcat, or I saw Donald Duck in a sailor suit. I don't know what I saw. What I do know is that it ran even with our car for about 5 steps, and then it turned. The trees were still like this, so the brush, it was still heavy brush, and it just got swallowed up by the brush, and I only saw it for a second. But I can tell you this, it wasn't a Bigfoot. And it's not that far from Carr Creek.
The critter.
The critter of Carr Creek.
Right now I'm with Tristan from Hidden Relief and Rick from Forest of Monsters on the Ocoee River. After dark. Look at this steam coming off the water. Super magical. Tristan's got a thermal. And Rick has 3 trail cams that we're gonna set up out here. And it's super cool to be on Cohutta Mountain. A mud fossil, an old frog. What's really wild is a forest ranger had a recent encounter with a titan up here. Couple areas that looks like possible footprints, but it's very leafy down here. The last night that Tristan and I were out here, we felt like something was hunting us. It was really scary. And then a huge storm swept through. So I don't know if we just sensed that was coming, or maybe it would have been our last night. Just like Joyride taught us, the rain washes the trace away. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah, it sounded high though, like in a tree. I love this bridge right here. It's good to be back.
Yeah, the little one log bridge.
Yeah.
And the uphill descent happens after this.
Yup. Good to be back, bro. They say to watch the A's when it crosses. Let you lead a little, Rick.
Oh, you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
Oh, I got to this one.
Looks good on camera.
Oh, I think on YouTube is this. Pick anything up.
Rick's done a lot of good research in these Tennessee mountains. He's huge on spearfinger. What's really cool is we are in the Cherokee National Forest.
A little bedding area.
So spearfinger could be out here. The Cherokee Devil. And right now, the other team is driving up the mountain and gonna go down from the top campground. So Jody, Rick, Bobby, and Brittany are gonna hopefully push them right towards us. So this is a perfect method. Tristan's got the thermal right now. BF Bud gave him. Gotta be really cool. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, there's nothing on mine. Getting on.
Last year we saw armadillo pushing through right here. It's definitely a steep ascension. But if you think of the curves of a frog, just gotta wind up this mountain. Right here, we're just gonna leave a Kit Kat bar because it's known all across the world. They're very interested.
Bigfoot off and run.
Yep. And we'll see
Yeah.
if it's here in the morning.
When we try to pass it up here, farther than we can.
Yep. We heard some footsteps. I heard like a popping noise. Janice Carter camped here a few years ago. And she said the dogmen were very angry that people were overstaying their welcome. And she actually urged a couple people to leave. A lot of places to hide. They could be up in the trees just watching from a bird's eye view or just level with us. You good? We can hang out right here for a bit.
Yeah.
Rick is setting up a trail cam right here. near a possible tree structure.
Trees to be more thin.
Go a little higher up.
Oh, there's getting one. The white pine tree, you know.
Alright.
Okay, mushroom. Yes. Oh, that's in there. How's it look?
Perfect.
Try to look at it pretty structure, you know. I just call it in. She's good. Alright, she's good.
Perfect.
One more bacon. Gonna have this bacon right here. Right here. If I ever create them all up here, with bears. We get a picture of them. Alright, let's go to bed.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. People love this. It's delicious.
Yeah.
But the first time you really need a wire. Wire's easy from when you're not blue down. This one I used.
Yeah.
This one.
Good thinking.
You might have life. I don't want you to spell life. You might have life. Okay.
Got a knife on you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, alright. Nice.
Sound like something just dropped in the trees over there. It hit the tree multiple times. You heard that, right, Tristan?
I heard you.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll come back to that pen. Just try and bust as you can. One bacon, just get the right here by the smell.
Yeah.
One hand, one more.
Just gotta watch out for bears too.
Just get him. Need one up here. I just smell.
Yeah. I can smell it for miles, probably.
I hope my catch Bigfoot 12 try camera.
Oh, yeah.
Allow more down, come on together. Up here.
Yup.
Alright.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Alright. We got more down, we got temperature. Oh, you want video of me?
Yep.
Alright. It's on. Alright, we got our camera set. So here's a bacon hanging up here, and one up here. Here's our camera. If Bigfoot come out here, smell this, or bear or creature, they smell them. When they whisper the camera, just bacon, you smell them, they'll just come towards you. Because those are part of foods for favorite to Bigfoot. From one of my stories called Cliff Bearer Man. We're gonna do what he do and see if it works, if it's true.
Very cool. Let's see it.
She's snapping. It's really shaking.
This is our spot from last year.
You wanna try and set one up at this curve?
Thinking, yeah, like right at this, right where it starts to go up. Yeah, it starts to go right here. You think maybe like, cause it goes uphill, maybe if we set one back there.
Why? Don't show him a trail. Don't show Bigfoot trail. Look, I remember the way I do film. I don't follow the human trail. I follow just a little bit human trail. They follow a wild animal trail. It leads to mystery.
Yep.
So in the moment we go that way. Let's see.
We'll check it out. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Just some crystal. Yeah, mushroom or crystal.
See this mushroom? See this flat rock? I believe they're smashing that right there. Why is there using mushroom? Why is that you see it smashing? See right there?
Yep.
Look, see right there? I think Bigfoot sleep right here. See that land how he looks? Triangle TP.
Yep.
That looks like him with there. You see that rock? Yeah.
Right here is like a little den area too. Might be a grave.
Have the idea. If I do, go there and touch them out.
Seems like right there is a ditch that's been used before.
You could be under there. That'd be tree TP.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like under there. how high span going through up that way back there. Yeah, back there.
Here, stand right here.
Huh.
Stand right here. It's really tall.
It's like 8, 9 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's 8 feet tall,
hear
9
that?
feet tall.
Did you hear that, Connor?
Look how big.
I was hitting
it is.
something. No.
It's rustling off that direction now. I just heard it.
Wait. Hearing that? Twin snap.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible. Creeks.
Hold on a second. I hear it again. They're walking away now. Sound like 2 footsteps. I'm trying to head that way. When my earrings, I can hear better. Oh, why don't we just walk that way and we can find up there?
We can try.
Or we should keep
I don't want to take too far.
Let's go up the mountain. Yeah, let's keep up the trail.
I don't want to go too far off the trail.
Then we'll get lost.
What do you got idea to set up a cam trail like a trail cam like somewhere else like this way?
Hey,
I felt not much.
you want to set your camera? That going right there?
Yeah, you see that tree branch being broken?
Yeah.
I blame heavy without Japan.
I'd say camera right there facing that way.
Yeah, you sounds good plan. Yeah, I can hang this baby up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright.
Got a bug. A black beetle. It's a really cool beetle.
This is my best one. I didn't want to use it down there. I'm using my best one.
Heck
I
yeah.
take a bunch of pictures and videos.
Oh no.
You alright?
Okay.
That was a face shot. Headshot.
Yeah. Alright. This is good one. That's gonna work. Just using my head.
Yeah.
Try to figure out how to tie it.
Nice.
Almost there? Huh?
Almost, yeah. Way to use your head.
Do I got it?
Yeah, it's on there.
Nice.
Okay, try to find something might be on the camera. But they clean. Alright, here we go. Check this out. Here you open it. There's a lot of batteries. This is smart, this one. This pictures, videos, but I'm really doing picture, video is just lacking, you know. Wait, hold on a second, let it load. Alright, she's still like, wait, Carr in there? Yeah, good. Can see if it's smart point, you know.
Nice.
That's gonna work.
Heck yeah.
Money bar line again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just had 4 bacons.
Yeah. That's
I believe
perfect.
That's big for trail.
Yep.
If we got him, we can set trap and catch him.
That's a big heavy trail right there.
Alright. Hold on a second. There's another two people.
Yep.
I'd say there's 2 people here. One more. I believe this is special one.
Let's do it.
Okay. Alright, here you go.
Tristan.
Alright. Okay, that's form one. Smash them. Make it get tight. I thought I heard something. Nothing. What happened? Right here. Right at the tree branch.
There's a noise up there to the right too.
Oh, good noise.
Alright, we just set up 2 trail cams. Now we're heading farther up the mountain, right towards the noises that we've been hearing. Tristan heard about 5 minutes worth of creaks. It's very interesting because Rick's got hearing aids in, so he's hearing different things than us all throughout this valley in the amphibians' curves.
We are looking.
That wire is a really good idea. Yeah. Could do like fish, chicken. That or fishing line. But the wire's just a good way to wrap it, you know? I know this trail's not used to people being out this late on it. Yeah. Yeah.
should be trying. Turn up. Turn up. See if we can hear out. I mean, what's up, boy? Got the big stick.
Yeah, if you want to try one, go ahead.
With this high up, you know. Wait, I think there's one more. No, that's heavy. We'll probably use
Are there any spirits out here right now with us? Are we welcome in these forests? Please say one of our names. Is Spearfinger out here? Is there any cryptid creatures out here? Was that knock and whistle Bigfoot? We are here in the name of the great creator. Just trying to build the bridge between us. Knock. We are friends. What was that, Rick?
I was how you feeling. I'm not sure which type of thing.
Yeah. Sound like a bark.
Weird. Shining lights in there. Like see icon. Nothing. Well, look at you 7. The rocket branch. Right there. Except for turn up.
Do I try to set the camera trying here? Or somewhere here? Oh, do a tree knock with that one?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Let me go ahead, Ricky. Yeah. Too hard. It might be a little bit weak. I think you're good for like one hit. Gonna hit that tree right now.
Alright.
Alright. He's holding his camera way harder.
Yeah.
Alright. Remember them while we gave me something like that. Why not? Anything?
Weird squeaks behind us.
Loud arrow.
Those are like bats.
Let me do 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunlight's coming up there,
Let's walk a little bit farther. What's up, Rick? Rick. Third camera. Uphill.
What?
The next camera, third camera, maybe like uphill, you know?
Well, Wait, hold on. Shot flashlight showing some good. Might watch my shit right there.
Uh-huh.
I mean, did you see that? I thought I see glowing, like blue, yellow, white. Glowing.
Try the trail cam right there.
Okay, and we said trail camera there when we're going.
Third camera going that way.
Only out that way.
Yeah.
That's be flat.
Yeah. On the path.
Okay. Yeah. My trail camera's kind of small around now.
Yeah.
Double cameras.
Yeah.
It's winter this one. With spraying.
Hopefully we don't see anything that already got our first bait.
So we got 3 trail cams set up with jerky and bacon hanging from wires. I'd be excited to get any kind of wildlife on them. We've been definitely hearing a bunch of noises, bats above us. Very interesting. It's not too cold out here once we start walking.
Yeah.
It sounds like something's paralleling us from up there. It knows we have the steep cliffside. I don't know what it is, but it's got our pacing figured out, because I can't get a good read on it.
My mom and my sister actually had seen something like pretty much drag, like on the way home one day, had seen something dragging, like we had an old pool that we used to have, like one of those regular pools, like the PVC pipe outlining pretty much, and stuff like that set it up, and it had broken, and we were just like, fuck it, don't worry about putting it back up. Well, it had just been laying in the yard for a little while after it had been kind of destroyed and came down, but something was piling dead animals up on it and dragging it across the yard. They had seen it dragging it across the yard, but whenever they pulled into the yard, it ran into the fort, like wood line, and then like it didn't see it anymore, but it had piled up like raccoon, it had a deer on there, it had like it had a raccoon, it had like 2 or 3 possums. Like it was like, what? It was dragging the tarp into the woods whenever they came home. And then they also had another experience where they seen something standing in the wood lines staring at them whenever they had gotten home one day. This was before I was born. Which there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened out on my territory, like my neck of the woods out there, like Campbellton and everything. My grandpa had a story of the hog-nosed bear, which was like a massive grizzly bear. That
I've
was
heard
like
you talk about that, ain't it, Connor?
Yep.
Yeah. My grandpa actually told me all kinds of stories about when he used to go deer hunting out in that area, where he would it was one experience where he heard like enormous growl, like it was you could hear it in his chest, like he didn't know what it was. And my grandpa was like, he served in the military, he shot from helicopters, he worked on helicopters, like I've never seen him scared in his life, but I could tell in his eyes when he would talk about the experiences, he was like, he couldn't explain the situation. Like I could tell it was a little bit of fear, and that's not somebody I would expect to have that kind of reaction. But he said he had seen it once in a hunting trip. Pretty much, he was inside of a deer stand in like a tree deer stand, and he had seen it like a couple yards off. He was like either it was like a big ass bear, like from the way it looked, like standing on 2 feet, it had to have been like 14-15 foot tall.
Damn.
That's how big it was. He said like it's the way its nose was, it had no hair on its snout, like on its face it was almost no hair, like it had been worn down, like it was really, really short haired, and like it was really, really lean and muscular. And he said it was just massive. He's like, overall, he's like, he was scared that the bear would be able to get him if if it caught scent of him or if it was anything, And he said he sat around for like 4 hours. The bear just kind of lumped around in the wood area, was scratching trees and stuff like that. And then it didn't smell him or nothing, and it kind of went on its way. But he was like, the whole time, he said he was like about to piss his pants type stuff.
Yeah, that's like.
Yeah. So the hog-nosed bear was the territory, and in my neck of the woods, which I'm sure there was some Sasquatch stuff going on.
And you and your sister heard it one time too.
Yeah, actually, I used to play soccer a lot whenever I was younger. I played 4 years of soccer whenever I was like in middle school, going into high school and stuff like that. I stopped playing high school because I dislocated my knee. Some kid decided to kick the side of my knee while I was playing soccer, and it was done for. And they said I probably wouldn't be able to play it anymore, so I was out of it for the rest of the season. But we were kicking a soccer ball around outside and stuff like that, and we have pine trees to the back of our woods, and like pretty much just regular wood, like just woods to the rest of the area, and then like a tree and then fields, or like a tree, but like a road and then fields. But more towards the back where the pine trees were, we heard like a massive roar, like it shook mine and my sister's chest, and it had to have been like a football field away. What felt like it felt like a stadium roar, like it was just loud, it was massive, and we didn't know what the hell was up. Like my sister's eyes, like she didn't even turn around because it was coming from behind her and it was coming from in front of me, and we were like probably standing like 20 yards 30 yards away from each other, just kicking the ball back and forth to each other. And like she hears like the roar, and we lock eyes, and we're like I could tell in her emotion like she didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, what was that? Like, I didn't know what was that. I was like, you know, like, how about we just go inside, you know? So we did I thought of like let's say Jurassic Park. If we make fast movements, it's gonna try and get us, whatever it is, you know. So I was like, if we just walk slowly to the gate, we'll be okay. You know, so we walked casually to the gate, and as soon as we hit the gate, we took off through the door and stuff like that, you know. But me and her both had the same experience. My mom tried to play it off like, you know, it could have been a tree falling down, but I was like, what kind of tree shook my chest whenever it was creaking and falling down? Like, there was no pine tree big enough to make that kind of rumble, you know. So like, and my sister would tell the same experience too. I would tell an experience me and Cameron had together, me and my brother, which I guess more like a best friend, but he like, I don't know if that was a dogman experience or like a Bigfoot experience. I don't know what it was.
Your brother's your best friend?
Well, I mean, I've known him like all my life. I consider him like a brother to me. So.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say,
he's
yeah,
not like he's not a blood brother.
You have known him.
Yeah, he's not a blood brother, but he's like
yeah, I got two brothers, and they can kiss my ass right in the pink part.
I've got all sisters, so that's
Tristan and I slept good the first night in the tent. Went to bed around 3. It's a little before 8 right now, so it's about how it goes. It was really nice sleeping next to the river and not it raging away like last year.
Yeah.
Can already hear some people are awake, but we're gonna milk it a little bit. Be comfy. Waking up on the Ocoee. Got Force the Monsters, Tristan, Cheryl Peacock, who I met at the Gatlinburg conference. Super cool to see you this morning. And of course, Boo and Flat Rock had to join us as well. But we're about to head up the mountain with Cheryl's grandchildren, the next generation of Bigfoot hunters.
Gotta teach them.
Super excited. And then Rick, we've got 3 cameras up there on the mountainside. Hopefully your break-in brought something.
I'm so excited. We're gonna go and see when we find out return cameras. But I got them in my pocket. You can download it on the phone, see what it is. If we got a Bigfoot, we'll go after him. Or if it's a bear, just find him.
For sure. Looking forward to it. Tristan, I know you slept good last night. How you feeling?
Feeling all right.
Let's get it. The hidden relief. We just found a possible impression. A little bit bigger than my hand, so I would say it could be a juvenile Sasquatch, but also could just be a hiker on the trail in the morning. But it's good to keep our eyes trained for that kind of stuff. Right, Bubba? Yes, sir.
On the hands on them, showing them more falling.
Hold on, baby. Hold on. Yeah.
The bridge to Terabithia.
I was really under the creek.
Yeah, this is a creek.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
Good job there, huh?
Yeah, very cool. Right now we're looking for the 3 trail cams we put out last night. Got a couple pictures from last night's trail cam. He's about to transfer over the files. Got the hanging bacon, and the bacon on the ground was gone. Very cool.
One more.
Gotta do it.
That phone. It's that phone. Well, so the next time we swap camera. Okay, you can turn it off.
Filming around, but you can shoot me too. Watch your step. Here's the second camera, guys. Take that. Alright, we're gonna try 3 tree knocks and we're gonna listen for a response. And they get creative with their response, so it's not always gonna be just like bang bang. But if you want to try a couple, Bubba, we'll switch hands. Alright, we'll wait. It would have been better to have a less wet one, but we work with what we got here on the trail. I'm going to do one more good one for the good measure.
Mom, hold it for you.
This one's not wet.
That one's not thick enough, sadly.
I think it just died. What about this one, Mima? No, that's too little. I think it just died.
Just touch the screen. We'll go up the hill a little farther. Alright, we just found some fresh scat of a bear right here near our 3rd trail cam. Hopefully we find the culprit or some more sign from the creature. Yeah.
I thought they were behind me. They're all the way up there.
Is there any dead bodies buried in these hills? Is there any spirits watching us right now, protecting us? Please say one of our names. Is there any caves in the area that hold secrets? Is Spearfinger out here?
Spearfinger.
Are we in the presence of the Cherokee Devil? Is there dogmen in the area? What was that thumping noise earlier?
You sure skinwalker out here?
Should we go? Do you like when we visit you? We will talk to you later. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Now to speak English. I did that Steve.
No, it's real ghosts. Mima.
Okay, I could say Cherokee type of real name. Tishukaloo.
You know all the games are?
Okay, spirit picker. Yolanta.
And that's not actually real. But your games aren't real. That's a real ghost.
Nothing.
Right at the top of the mountain, there's this cool rock wedged in this tree stump.
Especially because
And it's been there for a while. It was definitely placed.
the same shape.
Yeah, it's like it was meant to be. It's very
still
cool.
have the wood go on top of that. Probably
Similar to the rock we just found.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
No such thing as a coincidence.
Right,
Put
right.
it back in there, baby.
Yeah.
Put it back.
perfect place if I.
So
my
cool.
God. Oh my God.
Alright guys, we're gonna try a couple Bigfoot calls from the top of the mountain. See how far it echoes, see if we can get some responses. And even if it's not a direct response, we still got a long way home. Alright. Heard a click back there. You wanna try one, Bubba? What about you? Just scream as loud as you can. Now listen.
What is that below us?
A car. We wrapped all the way around the road, but that's up the mountain. So he's going to that campsite too, because there's a whole another campsite. But that's crazy to know, because like that's how it follows. You want to try one, Rick? Huh? You want to try one?
I'll do this.
Yeah, I want to do it again.
My
Yeah, I wanna do it
sister
again.
got almost a million viewers. Like I was screaming like coyote call. But I was hit screen off. Way branches rocked and it was 2 million viewers. A lot of Russian, Spanish people. Let me quit this.
Don't let me win.
No, but we might.
Can I hold this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's play with berries.
Four claw marks in the tree on top of the hill. Yeah, and a bunch of dead stuff going right here. It's got the perfect overlook of the road at night. Almost at the top of the big frog. Very cool.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, Rick's gonna try to break this tree.
Oh yeah. It should have fallen down, but I'm picking my move out of me. Flyers. Okay, move. Bigfoot, call the Yahoo.
Wow. You're covered, bro.
Let him go and probably go back to the campsite.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do.
I mean, if we heard him scream, I'd be like, oh no, there's a Bigfoot, I better go to the campsite.
Yep.
I mean, I probably really would go to the campsite if I heard him scream.
That's the safest place to be.
I would have ran as fast as I could. I'd be running like crazy.
Me too.
Well, I'd probably be like, you know how you can run slowly? Like, that's what I would do.
Yeah, jog out of here.
Yeah. I'll just probably try to follow the trail, because I don't think I know my way back.
Yeah. Got some wind. Got some wind action.
And what's this?
That's pretty cool. Something's been eating away at that. Most likely bugs, but still cool. Still cool to see all the moss. Feel that moss.
It's soft.
Yeah, it feels really cool. Better than carpet. A lot of people say ferns. Ferns and Bigfoot are related. And ferns are really cool too because they used to just like defy science because they'd reproduce, you know, with their spores. Yep.
Places that you wouldn't expect.
I don't like the carpets that like doesn't have the foot. Like it has a very short foot and like it's not really that comfy.
See you yelling, Rick! Yeah, there he is. Hey, hey! Rick made it.
That's pretty cool. See, that fern is growing out the base of that right there, and it's dead.
Always,
the tree itself is dead.
it always finds a way. Nature provides.
Here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Little
that's
crystal.
definitely
Crystal is good for paranormal energy.
There you go.
pretty cool.
It is.
We're gonna get it on down here in the holler, y'all. You know that's a holler, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Look at these mushrooms.
I most likely like the red mushrooms.
Yeah, like Mario.
Wow, this is so soft.
Keep going.
There's a kid in my class named Mario. Oh, Mom, who's that called? I got the corn kid and the taco song mixed up. It's going.
Mine is the schnozberries taste like schnozberries. That's from Super Troopers.
Má cho Billy làm monitor. Đi sau với cái ở đây là hai chuyện làm món.
We are. All right, we're back here at the holler, at the base of the mountain. Is there any spirits here with us right now? Please say your name if you're watching us.
You know one thing? There is a spirit next to us. God.
I like that.
He's always beside us.
That's true.
Beside him, her, me, you.
If there's a spirit out here and it wants to impress us, say one of our names.
Something like what?
Is there any creatures out here? Could you make a noise? Are the Cherokee Indians with us now? Is there magic in these hills? Are there fairy crosses in the region? Is there any ghosts that want to communicate with us? You? Who is you? What's your name? Are you a man or a beast? Are we safe out here? Are you watching us right now? Will there be any activity tonight? Is there werewolves in the area? Is this mountain an old frog? Kohutta. Is Spearfinger out here with us? Is there caves underneath our feet? Will you watch after us? Is there any water spirits by the river? Please make a sound if you're nearby. Thank you for your time. It's a fun little exercise, you know? See what happens. Now we got 4 minutes worth of weird spirits talking to us. And then we can ask people that are psychic to listen, who can hear even better.
You look like a blade.
So a lot of the responses he was saying.
Pretty clear, yeah, and he was hearing it, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
And I messed up. It's kind of like they just answered you and make a noise.
Yeah, there was lots of noise, that's for sure.
So that some more noises.
Well, we'll let it marinate and then we'll see what happens later.
You might look at my beast. So technically, I'm sure God and my grandfather, I guess, would win.
Definitely, the light and the spirit, they're always one step ahead of the darkness.
There's one step ahead because there's always going to be more lightness than darkness because there's really...
Because this...
Beast can't, like, lightness always keeps coming, so the wood would never end.
Yep.
That's like the solar panel busted down and exploded the whole entire wood. So like a big boulder rock, like one of those lights, the sun hit the wood, then yeah, it would move. But until that happens, there's always gonna be more lightness because babies keep coming into the wood. So
True that.
obviously.
Population keeps growing. So does the spirit.
And then if there was a boy, then that baby it's being a baby. So, there's always gonna be someone on the earth.
True that.
It's like a little way on a rocket ship.
Yeah. A spaceship, a UFO.
Yeah, aliens like get some. If aliens are real, then yeah, someone could get taken away by the aliens.
Yep.
But if those are real, we like technically aliens and monsters and all that is in the darkness. Yeah, so what if they died?
Exactly.
Because the babies are going to keep coming at the humans.
I just set up this chicken wing on wire. We're gonna check it in the morning. See what comes down from the mountain. Check it out.
And then a buddy of mine, actually my niece's husband, was fishing it, and it was almost dark. We didn't see anything, but there was right at dark, and it wasn't one of these. Oh, did you hear that? What was that? It was close, and it was the most unreal gurgled growl we'd never heard in my life. I mean, it wasn't a bear, it wasn't nothing. It was enough to scare you. We both looked at each other. We were grown men. We were scared to walk to the truck. We went to the truck, got in and left, and I've not been back over there. It was enough to scare you.
How long have you been lived in this area?
54 years.
So
It's been a bear.
you know what
yes,
something,
absolutely.
what
If I knew I was coming down here, I'd have brought some of them with me.
Yeah.
You know, some of these guys. But the first time, if you know where Big Creek is?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah. Back over there.
Yeah. Big Creek. There was we were coon hunting, lost our dogs, and there's a road that goes down in the lower end of Big Creek. It dead ends. You have to turn around and come back. Like I said, this was early, mid-80s, and we were calling the dogs, and something yelled back at us. And this was before all the finding Bigfoot and stuff. It was like, man, somebody down trying to scare us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody trying to scare us. So we didn't pay no attention because we knew everybody. And a few minutes later, it did it again. We're like, we'll go down and find out who that is. We'll scare them. Said that road dead ends. We drove all the way down, nothing. Nobody.
No car.
No tracks, no nothing. Come back out and even went out to the end of the road. Turn around and come back. Like I said, this is before all the recordings and all that.
Well, let me stop. Before you go in for the yell, let me play it. Tell me if it sounds anything like this yell here. Like that.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't like exactly what you hear all the time. It's more of a, I don't know, it's hard to explain years ago. But there was nothing down that road. And here a few years later, not long ago, we were talking, he said, you know what we heard? That sounds a lot like what you see on Finding Bigfoot. And stuff. We said, yeah, but that really didn't bother us. It was the growl, not far from here. That's what scared me. Now, do y'all think there's wolves here? I was asking him the same thing. You think there's wolves here?
There could easily be wolves here. I know that. I've heard they were. Red wolves. I know
The red wolf deal.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
Oh, they introduced red wolves in the area.
Well, I've got a recording off a trail camera. If it's a wolf, it's definitely not a coyote. It's definitely not a house dog.
Well, they released red wolves in the area.
So you can hear.
north of here. Yeah,
you can tell the difference between red wolf and squatch. Yeah, you really can.
That first camp out though, remember Janice Carter was getting that telepathy, and the Bigfoot was telling her that there were dogmen in this area. So it all.
Yeah, I told that.
And the Sasquatch call them the dogman wolf people. So it all connects for sure.
Listen to this howl. It said I was recording it off a phone onto my phone. Had grandkids running around. There's background noise, but you can definitely hear the howl. It's coming. Right off a trail camera, right here close.
different tones.
That is different tones. Well, whereabouts is that trail camera at?
It's over in Gracie. Oh, the trail camera itself?
Yeah, where that recording came from.
The trail camera, I'm sure she probably don't have it.
No, I mean, where did you have it placed?
Where do you have it placed?
It was on my dad's house.
Okay.
And like I was telling them.
How was it close to where your dad lived?
Yeah. I was telling them it was set up for meth heads or whatever, somebody trying to break in.
That wasn't, I don't think a human could do that sound.
No.
No.
I don't believe it.
That was not a red wolf either.
Dogman they're talking about.
But it kind of, it was.
I tell you what, there's a guy named Gary Spike Senior.
Yeah.
He's got a recording.
That's a good one there.
Yeah,
That's a good one there.
Yeah, that real clear. That will really make the hair.
What part of
Hey, I'm Connor from Bigfoot Anon, and I'm always on the hunt for the next big adventure. When you're on the trail for long hours, you build up quite the stench, enough to drive any skunk ape or yeti away. Luckily, I'm on the quest now for the solution to all my problems. Yeti bars. They do exist. Available in tons of different scents and fragrances. Check out YetiBars.net for more and use my code BA10 for a special offer. Clean like a beast. Yeti Bars!
Flesh of the unguided and non-believers fuel this void.